Hey guys, HuShang here. Welcome to another Starcraft 2 lesson. In today's video, we're going to be looking at some more multitasking. And in the last video of this series, we were looking at some bronze level multitasking. So I have a game here. I'm going to be playing Zerg this time, but again, it's going to be information that's applicable to all races. And first thing I want to go through is just how hotkeys can help you multitask. So let's say we're playing a Zerg versus Protoss game. I have several hotkeys going on here. I have one for my bases. Some of these are doubles, but I have one for my bases. I have one for my spawning pool, which is helpful for researching speed. And then I have an F key for each base. So if you want to set those up, I think I have a guide on camera locations, but they're in the settings as I showed in the last video. And we also have an overlord hotkey, two overlords hotkeyed actually. One is my scouting overlord over here, the first one. And well, they're both scouting overlords. And the other one is the second scouting overlord. So I have a hotkey for each of these, and then I have a base cam, and some other hotkeys, but those ones are irrelevant. Okay, so basically what I want to show you guys is if you don't have these hotkeyed, and you're trying to do your build, let's say you're making some drones, you're making your overlord, and you have to click on the minimap and select this. Even if you're really quick, that's going to take you like 3 seconds, I would say. But if you have a hotkey, not only can you click it, jump to it really fast, and then move it in, you can actually do that without even looking. So if I just have it here and I'm in my main, I can hit the overlord hotkey, use the minimap to send that in, and it's already done without even me changing screens, which might be helpful, right? Because let's say you're, let's say you're over here, right? And you are going to make a roach warren. You might want to be able to do that quite quickly without changing your screen, but also have the overlord go in. So yeah, so one of the main ways you can just get faster with your hotkeys is, or in general, is just to use some hotkeys. Same thing if you're playing Protoss or Terran, you know, maybe you have your Reaper or your First Adept or even your scouting workers. You're going to want to hotkey those so that you can jump to them quite quickly. Let me send this overlord in as well. So let's say this is if you're playing Protoss or Terran. Let me actually patrol this. And this is if you're playing Zerg. So if we're doing our macro build right now and we're scouting, I don't know, let's say Protoss. So we're coming in here, we're scouting Protoss. If we just watch this overlord the whole time, it's going to take like 30 seconds to go through the base. So we obviously don't want to do that. I think most people know that though. You don't want to watch it the whole time. You've got a lot of shit to do. You're going to be way behind in your build if you're watching this the whole time it's going through. So the question is, how much time do we need to look at this overlord? And which pieces of information are we trying to gather? Right? So when it comes through, we can see that there's a gateway, a cyber, a pylon, and nexus, but most of this information is pretty irrelevant, to be honest. Because all we need to do is determine if he's taking an expansion or not. So to do that, you should be watching the overlord as it comes in. Double tap the hotkey to jump to it if you don't know. And then once you see the nexus, you can forget about that information. So you actually want to practice getting the information and then looking away as quickly as possible. So if our overlord's here, you know, that would look something like double tap the overlord, see the nexus, out. And that's it. And if you get really good at that, you see how quick that is. Especially because of the double tap. And in fact, it's so quick that if you just tap them in quick succession without even thinking about the nexus first, like so we double tap it right now, and then I hit F1 immediately before I see you, whether it's a nexus or not. You're still going to get that information because your eyes can pick that up, right? You can see that nexus. It's quick, but it's, you know, you can still see it. So basically, when your overlord is here on the minimap, you should just double tap and get back. And then you can continue your build. Let's just pretend to macro here. And then once that overlord is in the main, then you're going to double tap again. If I'm playing the GM game here, I'm going to be coming back and forth quite often, to be honest, to pick up little bits of information. But if you are in the, gold, platinum, we'll get to some diamond stuff in the next video. But if you're in the gold, platinum area, or if you're just spending too much time scouting, you really want to just jump in, see the information, and get out. I'm going to double tap my overlord again because now the overlord's in the main. But this time I want another key piece of information. So this time I want to see what tech structure the Protoss got. That's it.
Game resumed.
Stargate out. That's it. Your overlord's already on a path. So one way I see a lot of people waste time is their overlord, they've already done this path before, and they come here, see a Stargate, and then they do this. Don't do that. You just wasted 5 seconds right there, right? That was a terrible use of your time. So have the shift queue, double tap, see this Stargate, then just get out. Just like this. Check, out. It's over. You've already got the information. It's done. You can move on to other stuff that you need to do in your build. Okay, so that's the first thing I wanted to cover. I guess that we can look at it with the drone as well. Basically the same thing, right? Lots of people playing Terran and Protoss, or even Zergs with Zerglings, going through a base. Let me actually show you. We'll go into my base just to give an example of what it looks like. So we have this drone hotkeyed. This is our scouting drone. We're going through the Protoss or Terran's base or whatever. And I see people doing this all the time. Maybe they're doing this a little bit, right? But I don't see a lot of people doing something like this, where let's say you're playing ZVZ is a good example, actually. If you're playing ZVZ and you got some Zerglings and you're coming through your opponent's base, you can just like shift queue some stuff like this and then not watch it, right? Just jump back and forth to it every once in a while. Look for the key pieces of information, check how many drones there are, and then come back to it in a little bit and maybe see if there's a tech structure in the main, right? Jump back, see what you want, get out. So the more you can do that, the more time you're going to save, and you can, not get supply blocked and not forget your units, your larvae, your injects, etc. Okay, so that is the first thing I wanted to go over. For the next part, we're going to go to the unit tester. And I think this is partly what people are looking forward to in this Mutalisk guide, as you guys have said in the comments. Unit tester. So we're going to check out some really basic multitasking you can do with your units. And the core of this is not doing a lot with them. It's basically just letting the AI do it for you. But there are, certain units that are better at this than others. So I'd recommend you play certain styles. Let's start with Terran. So if you're playing Terran, you probably don't want to open up with Banshees, for example, because Banshees are really high micro, unless you're going to specifically not micro them when you send them in. Like if we have a mineral line here, something like that. Let's get 2 Banshee. We got a mineral line here. You got a Nexus. These are all mining. The problem I see is people will have these Banshees, even at the gold level, and they'll come in here with their Banshees, right? And they'll start targeting, which is what pro gamers do because they're trying to optimize the amount of damage. But if you do that in Gold League, your money's going to be like 3K. I don't care how good you are in Gold League. There's no way you can spend your money because most people in Diamond even have trouble doing this. So it's even in Masters, people are like gotta have their best game to be able to spend their money perfectly and target workers. So if you're doing that, stop, because I mean you're not really gonna gain as much MMR as you could. You're not really improving at the important things. You're just improving at really small 2% gains in your gameplay. So what you should actually be doing, I'll have to add on some more units though. Let's say we got some Marines maybe as well. Or actually, more realistic is you have some Hellions, right? You probably have 8 Hellions with a build like this. I'm not sure if I'll be able to transform these into Hellbats. Okay, I can. So what you should do instead of that is you should get some multi-prong going that doesn't require you to micro. So we can take these Banshee, we can just send them to the mineral line, and then we can instead of focusing on the micro, we can get these hellbats to go and attack something else. And then during this period here, I'm going to show you guys what's happening. But what you're doing in this period here is you're just macroing. You don't care about these. Just let them die even. if they die and they don't kill a single thing, you're going to distract your opponent quite a bit still. And if your opponent's floating like 2,000 minerals at this level, which is super, super common, but you're able to just kind of not watch your units and keep macroing perfectly, which you totally can. Every student I've taught, or like 90% of students I've taught, can all macro at this level really well, if they do it. But usually they don't do it. It's the real problem. So move your units like this. These hellbats are going to be insanely hard to kill for your opponent, but it's really easy for you to do. And then let's look at some other comps with the other races. So that would be a good comp for Terran. But if you're playing Protoss, you could maybe open... I don't know why I keep holding shift. You could maybe open with some Void Rays. Would be a good example because these are move units, so you don't need to micro them. A bad example would be like Phoenix. Don't play Phoenix if you're in this MMR because you're going to have to pick up stuff with them, which makes it significantly harder. Or something like Adepts is probably not good, depending on how you do it. You can do it, but I feel like people over micro usually when they play this comp because they're trying to shade around. If you just shade in, like with a really sharp build order, and then you just don't watch them, you just leave them in the mineral line for your opponent to deal with, that could be pretty good. But if you're, trying to target fire and then shade to the next base, there's no way you can do that. Not yet. Okay. And you'll know when you're ready to go past this level, by the way, because you're going to be able to macro perfectly. Once you can macro perfectly, without any micro, you should be like Diamond League. Not joking. You should be like at least Diamond League. And then you could start to micro a little bit, which we'll get to in the next video. So I think charge lots are better here. I think Void Rays are pretty good. Dark Templar are actually pretty good as well, if you want. But try to avoid, Phoenix, Adept for the most part. Any sort of like Disruptor drop or Adept drop or stuff like that. Avoid that stuff. Just keep it to things that you can move. And then for Zerg, it's a little bit tricky, to be honest, because a lot of units are pretty micro-intensive. But if you stick to the core units, like the Roaches, the Banelings, or Zerglings, you can do a lot of harass with these. Just stay away from like Mutalisk, Swarm Host, that kind of thing. And basically, don't worry too much about the outcome. So if you have, I don't know, let's say you're playing a Zerg versus Zerg, right? A lot of times in Zerg versus Zerg, you're going to be really worried about your Zerglings dying and stuff. But if you can grab maybe 4 of your Banelings and just send them to like a natural mineral line, like let's say there's 2 bases here, right? You got a base over here maybe and a base over here. If you're playing a Zerg versus Zerg and you just right-click on the minimap, these Banelings into your opponent's natural mineral line, and then you just have a fight over here and distract them. Super, super easy multitasking harass, right? Because you're not going to watch these again. They're just going to go in there and blow up on whatever. You don't even care. But this is going to be really easy to do, really hard for your opponent, and like really high success rate. Same thing with Zerglings. You could do any of these units, to be honest. Like a good example, Zerg versus Protoss. You make a bunch of roaches early to stay safe, but then you don't want these anymore. So you can just right-click them to a mineral line. It's done. Don't watch them again. You're going to annoy your opponent, and then just keep macroing really well. Okay, so that's that. What else do I have written down here? I got some notes, so I don't forget stuff. Right, okay, so the last thing I wanted to talk about is just making use of downtime. So there's just a lot of periods in the game where you have some time to do stuff, but you're worried to look away. So one of the main things I see, one of the main examples of this is your opponent has like a pretty massive army and you're just really worried about your army dying. So you have to start getting comfortable with when your units are actually in danger. So if I play maybe Terran for this example, we got some Medivacs, we got some Bio, and Protoss has like Colossus Stalker. We're going to need stim though. Okay, so Protoss has this scary ass army, and fair enough if you're, you know, terrified of losing everything you have here. But let's say that you start the engagement and you realize like, okay, this is actually a bad idea and you just want to leave. The most common way I'll see people do this is something like this. Oh fuck. Oh shit, he's coming. He's still coming. Oh my god. So obviously that's a huge waste of time. And you got to train yourself to not be worried because our units are obviously faster, so we don't need to worry about that. What you'll see GMs do is start the fight, click on the minimap, and then they'll maybe boost their medevac, which is even like more than you need to do, right? So all you have to do is click away and stim. As long as units are stimmed and they're running away, they're not going to get caught. Let's do that again actually with the units chasing. It's not even close. So Protoss is chasing you. You see them, you click on the minimap, stim away. Look at this speed difference, right? Not even close. So you can easily get away there. You don't need to watch them again until they get back to your base. And during that period, you know, you can queue up more reinforcements. You can set up some defenses. You can do way more important stuff than that. All right. I think that's it for this video. Hopefully that was helpful. I see we went 16 minutes, a little bit longer than I thought. But if you like this video, give it a like. I want to make some more higher level stuff soon. So we'll be doing some diamond and some masters, and I think we'll even do some GM level multitask. So if you're interested in that, make sure to subscribe. And I also want to know if I've missed anything. If you guys want to know how to multitask certain scenarios, let me know in the comments, and I'll try to get to those in the next videos. All right. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.